Hello, good morning. Today this morning we will discuss about the motion. So, so what is the motion? Motion is change in the position of the particle with respect to the time. It is known as motion. Motion we can see everywhere. For example, uh, people are walking on the road, vehicle are vehicle are running on the highway, and suppose your leaves are falling from the tree on the ground, and earth is rotating around the sun. So you can see motion is everywhere. If somebody change its position, so there would be a motion. And again, let's talk about uh, how motion is can be seen, or motion can be understand. To understand the motion, we need certain frame of reference. For example, suppose somebody is inside the car and car is moving on the road, and one is observing the car from outside. So with respect to the person who is outside, car is moving on the road, but with respect to the person who is inside the car is stationary condition. So so we can say that motion is only possible with respect to the some frame of reference. For example, we are on the earth, we can say that we are stationary, but it is wrong. If somebody is observing us from another planet, so we can say that we are also rotating with earth, we are also rotating around the sun with earth. So the frame of reference for the another planet is our earth. So this kind of things can be understood by the frame of reference. Now let's talk about the types of motion. So generally we have three types of motion: translation motion, rotational motion, and general motion. Let's talk about general translation motion. In translation motion, the particle moves in a plane and all the particles of the body have equal distance covered. And when we talk about the rotational motion, here the particles of the body travel different distance. A particle rotates its a particular point. In this case, the orientation of the particle change with time. It is known as a rotational motion. For example, your fan is rotating, is a rotational motion. In case of general motion is a combination of translation motion and rotational motion. For example, your vehicle is moving on the road, so the wheel of the vehicle rotating in particular axis. Apart from this, the vehicle also covering some distance. So these combination of both the distance is known as the general motion. Now again we will discuss about the variables of the motion. So here we have variables like distance, or we can say path length, displacement, velocity, and acceleration. Let's talk about one by one. First of all, we can take distance. Distance is a scalar quantity. Here we take only uh, magnitude. We do not consider the direction. The entire distance is covered by the particle is known as distance. Distance cannot be zero, it is always positive. On the contrary, we talk about the displacement. The definition of displacement is the shortest distance covered by the particle in particular direction is known as displacement. Displacement is a vector quantity. Here we have to consider direction apart from the magnitude. How much distance has been covered in a particular direction is known as displacement. Its unit is in meter as the unit of distance. And we will talk about again the velocity. So velocity is how fast change in the position of the body is known as velocity. Or another definition, we can say that rate of change of displacement is known as velocity. Velocity is also vector quantity. Its unit is meter per second. And generally we have two kinds of velocity. One is average velocity, second is instantaneous velocity. In case of average velocity, here a particular distance is covered in particular interval of time. Here we do not focus on the point of time and point of distance. In case of instantaneous velocity, here the shortest distance is covered by the particle in short interval of time is known as instantaneous velocity. It is unit is also meter per second. We can write v is equal to dx over dt. And one more example is average speed. In case of average speed, the entire distance covered by the body with time, or we can say how fast all the distance has been covered by the body is known as average speed. Average speed is also a scalar quantity. Here we do not focus on the direction, we have to focus the distance only. But in case of velocity, here we focus on the direction as well as magnitude. And another variables that is very important, that is acceleration. How fast the distance, how fast the velocity is changing with the time, it is known as the acceleration. Acceleration is a vector quantity. Here we have both magnitude as well as direction. If velocity is decreasing with the time, it is known as retardation or deceleration. If velocity is changing with the time, it is positive acceleration or generally accelerations. Thank you so much.